Hello, ghouls. Welcome to Brave the Basement. I'm your host, Ghoul the Rules.
I'm your co-host, Black One Jack 2.
If you enjoy getting a little scared, ghost stories, haunted houses, believer in the supernatural, or maybe even a skeptic wanting to look at things from a different perspective, then this is the show for you. Today's episode is sponsored by Ed's Barbershop. Ed's Barbershop is located at 210 Lane Street in North Judson, Indiana. So if you enjoy getting your hair cut from a hometown barber with that old-fashioned feel, then dial 574-896-3344 and schedule your appointment today. Hey, Blackjack, how's it going?
I'm doing pretty good.
So before we get into today's topic, I just want to let everybody know, if you jump over to bravethebasement.weebly.com and you click on our bonus page, you will find an interview that I recently did with the musical ghoul. And the only place that you're going to be able to find this interview is on the website. We won't find it on YouTube. It won't be released on Anchor or any other podcast platforms that you're used to listening to Brave the Basement on. So be sure to head over there, check that out. What he talks about is his inspirations and how he came up with the intro and outro for Season 1 and Season 2. So it's definitely a good time, so definitely check that out. So today we're going to be talking about a place in LaPorte, Indiana called Posey Chapel. And to give you a little bit of history on Posey Chapel in LaPorte, Indiana, Posey was built in 1841 for the families in the area of the Methodist faith. It was one of the county's oldest landmarks. The chapel was located next to the Posey Chapel Cemetery, where for well over 125 years, families had laid the departed to rest. Although many records state that the first burial at Posey was in 1844 or 1845, old transcriptions of this cemetery show that two infant sons of Thomas and Lucette Foster, who died in 1838 and 1839, are buried there. It is possible that others were buried on the hill before it was designated as a cemetery. Or, as we have seen at the other pioneer cemeteries, individuals first buried near the family home may have been removed and reinterred at the cemetery at a later date. And then on the evening of January 26, 1972, arsonists struck and burnt the structure to the ground. They were later apprehended. The chapel had not been used in several years, with the exception of an occasional family reunion. But the LaPorte County Historical Society had been maintaining the building as one of LaPorte's landmarks. An open pavilion now stands approximately where the church once stood. So what they say happens, Blackjack, at these at Posey Chapel is a lot of people have reported seeing red eyes in the dark. They've reported seeing orbs. A lot of people say that, you know, you start going out there, you take pictures, you're going to catch some orbs. Ghost sightings. And my favorite, finding strange handprints on cars.
Well, let's just jump straight into it. First, I want to mention is that usually I don't know what the topic is, guys. So now we're going into churches and demons and orbs and handprints. So usually on every episode, we set up and I don't find out what the topic is unless it's a special topic until that moment. So this is going to be creepy.
Yeah, so to get us into this story and the inspiration for this episode was we got some ghoul mail. So let's go ahead and check the ghoul mail. Ghoul mail from the Gmail. So this was sent in by one of the Brave the Basement ghouls out there. I hadn't heard of any ghost stories about Posey Chapel until after I had my weird experience. I was about 16 or 17 when this happened. My friends and I, 5 of us, were bored and started driving around on the back roads to kill time and enjoy the quiet of nature. After a while, my friend that was driving slowed down and backed up into what I thought was someone's driveway. I was in the middle of the back seat and couldn't tell where we were. My other friends started freaking out and yelling at the driver to leave now and get out of here. The driver was laughing and eventually pulled back onto the road and drove off. I asked why they were freaking out, and they told me that the driver had stopped at Posey Chapel. I knew nothing about it, so they told me all the stories that they heard and that it was haunted. I believed in ghosts, So this was exciting to me, but nobody wanted to go back. A short time later, we pulled into a gas station to get drinks and snacks. As I walked behind the car, I noticed handprints on the bumper and trunk of the car. They were small kids' handprints and what looked like red clay. They weren't there when we started driving because we had washed the car right before we left. Most of my friends were scared, but I loved it. I have family buried at Posey, so I have gone there several times, but never at night since then. I always have a strange feeling when I'm there and see things out of the corner of my eye. I haven't caught anything in a photo yet, but hope to soon.
Oh man, that's just creepy little kid handprints and the red clay. Was it right? Red
Yeah,
clay?
they said they found handprints on a car that they already washed, like little children's handprints, in red clay.
That's just terrifying. I mean, good thing it wasn't blood. That's 2 thumbs up right here.
Yeah, that's definitely a plus. So we would like to thank our ghouls out there for sending us these stories. We'd love to hear from you. If you would like to read that email yourself, hop on bravethebasement.weebly.com, check out our featured ghoul mail page, and you will be able to see that. So I did a little bit of digging, Blackjack, and I found a couple other experiences that people have had out there, and I'm going to go ahead and just read a couple of them real quick. I've grown up in New Buffalo, so this was a local legend to me. Eventually, my friends and I grew the courage to visit it and had something strange happen. Overall, there was an ominous feeling about the place. Standing under a pavilion, I saw his shadow peeking out at us from behind a tree. I asked one friend if he's seen it, and he said yeah. I was waiting for someone else to mention it first. It kept going back behind the tree and popping out on random sides. We all simultaneously said left, right, as he kept reappearing.
Man, just terrifying at this place anymore. Like, why do we do this? Why do we scare ourselves?
So, and this is the fun thing is Blackjack, sometimes he gets scared when we tell these stories, and I'm like, hey, Blackjack, you want to hear another scary story?
Why not, Bob?
Yeah, why not? So I'm going to go ahead and read another experience that I had found online. I grew up very close to here, so I have had several stories. First, stories are that snow never stick on the little pavilion thing where the church used to be, even though we get lots of snow. Second, I was up there at night with my friends, and I got an eerie feeling, and then I kept tripping and feeling things grab at my legs. Third, I went to visit the grave of a child I know buried there at sunset, and a black cat came out of nowhere and started making the strangest sounds I've ever heard. It's like it was trying to speak. I thought I was going crazy, but my cousin was with me and confirmed it was happening. We got back in the car immediately, and the cat disappeared back into the brush.
You know it's unlucky when a black cat walks into a cemetery when you're, by your old friend who passed.
So something that I'm seeing kind of reoccurring here, when I just went over earlier in the episode was, some of the urban legends that you hear is report of red eyes, orbs, ghost sightings, and handprints on cars. And you're going to hear more about handprints on cars here in a minute. But what is that, 2 stories now?
Yeah.
That talked about children. Or was it all 3 that talked about children? No, it was just the 2. So the children keep coming up in this, and I find that very interesting. So I did some digging, and we talked about LaPorte, Indiana before. Back when we kind of stepped away from the paranormal just for one episode, we talked about a serial killer from LaPorte, Indiana. Her name is Belle Gunnis. And what's interesting about Belle Gunnis, real quick, not jump off topic, but right after we did that episode, they announced that they were making the movie about Belle Gunnis. And, everything blew up and people kept sending me stuff saying, hey, did you see that they're making a movie about Belle Gunnis? We did not know that when we did the episode. We had no idea that was going to happen, so that was pretty cool. But anyway, back to LaPorte itself, I found on the NewYorkTimes.com They talked to a local. I think that she's a she's a historical
Historian.
a historian and a ghost hunter, and she does tours of LaPorte. And I'm going to read this interview or just what she said to the New York Times, and it talks about Posey, and it also talks about some other things going on in LaPorte. So I found this really interesting.
Before we start, let's just make this clear. We're not going to LaPorte, all right? We got a murderer named Belle Gunnis. Who knows? She's still somewhere, a ghost or whatever. We got fingerprints with red clay.
But I'm telling you, Blackjack,
we got orbs. We ain't going.
Once I get into this, you're going to be begging me to go before this episode's out.
All right.
Okay?
All right.
You're doubting me, aren't you?
I'm doubting.
Okay, so we'll go ahead and go to this article. Straddling the line between fall and winter, Halloween is a time of celebration and superstition. Halloween activities include trick-or-treating, costume parties, pumpkin carving, visiting haunted attractions, and telling scary stories. There have been stories circulating throughout LaPorte County concerning haunted places, and we thought it was a good time to share some with you. So we contacted paranormal investigator Patricia Harrison for some insight. Mrs. Harrison said, "When I get a call from someone outside LaPorte County, I like to tell them the history of Belle Gunnis first because it is a true story. It happened here, and as you know, fact is sometimes more interesting than fiction. I start the tour before sunset in the Pine Lake Cemetery because the remaining parts of some of the victims are buried there in a mass grave. Then we drive past the area where the Gunnis farm once stood. Our last stop is the Patton Cemetery where the last two victims were buried. Those who have cameras get some great spirit orb shots during this tour." She went on to say, "I believe that the Kingsbury Ordnance Plant is another good area for paranormal investigation because I have seen unexplained lights in the sky, heard sirens, and taken some great spirit orb pictures. It is a strange feeling when you're there. It is frightening. So are you ready to go to LaPorte yet, Blackjack?"
No.
Okay, so I haven't got you sold yet.
No.
Patricia said for family fun, you can't beat Gravity Hill. It is a fun trip any time of the year. However, finding the spot on County Line Road can be a challenge. You stop your car at the bottom of a hill just below the railroad tracks. Put your car in neutral and wait for the car to start moving up the hill and over the tracks. We wanted to know if it really works, and Patricia said it works every time. She told us that legend has it that at one time a school bus was hit by a train. So now when you stop, the children from the bus push your car over the tracks, Patricia told us. If you put baby powder on the back of your car, you will find little handprints on the back of your car once you are over the railroad tracks.
We're going.
I knew it.
Okay, we're buying 10 pounds of baby powder.
Gonna put it right over the
right
car.
Over. All 10 pounds of it.
Well, we would have to take my car, Blackjack, because I got a dark car. You got a white car. I don't know if we'd be able to really see the baby powder all that well on your car. But I knew it. I said I still got more to go, and you're already ready to go.
No, we're going.
And so, and I think, and I mentioned children earlier. I said, I read 3 stories, and 2 of them mentioned children. And now here we got, and I don't know how close, I've never been to Posey Chapel. I have no idea how close it is to, what do they call it, Gravity Hill. So that would be interesting to know where Posey Chapel is as opposed to Gravity Hill. So that's something we're going to have to check out.
Maybe after, the editing and all this, we can maybe post it on the website. Maybe we can find anything if you guys are interested. So stay tuned, I guess, for that.
Yeah, so we'll just add it to our summer list of a couple places we want to visit because we still want to do Moody Light. I think you wanted to do Devil Face Cemetery. Now it sounds like you want to do Gravity Hill. So, maybe,
the only reason why I want to do this is because it's not as bad. I mean, the Savannah, Georgia video, the episode, no. What was it? Name more. I can't think at the moment. What What was one of the places that we were talking about?
We talked about a lot of places, Blackjack.
I know, and I can't think right now.
You know, and what's interesting is some places you wanted to completely avoid.
Oh, yeah,
and
yeah.
some places you're like, oh, yeah, I'd totally go.
Totally go. It's totally safe. I ain't getting hurt. There's no Ouija boards. There's nothing flying at my head. You know, we're all good.
So she went on a little more, and then now she starts talking about Posey Chapel. We asked Patricia about Posey Chapel Cemetery because from all that we have heard, LaPorte County's #1 haunted spot is the Posey Chapel Cemetery. Patricia said Posey is very interesting area any time of year. Take a camera because generally orbs are present, especially at dusk, and sometimes you can capture dark shadows in your pictures. Also, she said, I have seen red light in the back of the cemetery, vortex stream of light coming from the ground up, and I have heard oxen bells. She likes to take people on tours and talk about spirits. However, people can go on their own tour, but she recommends that you don't trespass, you don't drink alcohol, always stay open-minded, and don't disturb or disrespect the spirits. Finally, Patricia recommends a visit to Devil's Bridge, located on County Line Road and U.S. Highway 20. She said, be patient and wait for the spirits to contact you. Patricia believes that this time of year, because it was talking about Halloween at the beginning of the article, Patricia believes that this time of the year, the air is the thinnest and it makes the portals between our world and the spirit world more accessible.
No bueno. You know, why would you do this in Halloween? Okay, Halloween is supposed to be one of the spookiest times of the year in the United States.
Well, that's exactly why you would do it at Halloween, Blackjack.
You know, you enjoy the candy, enjoy the costumes. You go home, you watch a scary movie, and you call it a day.
Right now, Blackjack, I'm just envisioning a whole episode of The Ghoul That Rules and Blackjack Go Ghost Hunting, where we share our experience at Moody Light, Posey Chapel, Devil Face Cemetery,
go to Savannah, Georgia,
Gravity Hill. So, yeah, I really want to do those episodes. It's going to be very fun. Depending on what happens, it's one of them. You know, we could go to one of these places and have some really cool stuff and be able to fill up, you know, an entire episode. Or, you know, it might not be that active and we'll just briefly talk about it. So we'll see what happens. You never know what's going to happen when you ghost hunt. I've been on several ghost hunting. I've been on ghost hunts where absolutely nothing happened. And it was just absolutely boring and nothing happened. And then I've been on some, which I've shared on this program, where a lot of scary things have happened.
We got to be vloggers.
Vloggers. No, I'll stick with the podcast. Thank you.
Stick with the pod. Well, how if we don't, like, show our faces? We just, like, record the car.
Oh, you just mean, okay, never mind. I thought you was talking about something. Yeah, I mean, we could take audio. We could take some video.
I mean, we don't have to show our faces. We're not vloggers. I mean, I ain't Logan Paul.
Trust me, for those of you wondering, I have a face for radio. So I'm definitely not TV ready for you. So if you would like to become a Brave the Basement Ghoul, be sure to share this show on social media. Go to bravethebasement.weebly.com and sign up for our newsletter to get all the latest news and updates when each episode has been posted. If you have a ghost story you would like to share, you can reach us at bravethebasement@gmail.com. Your story can make it on the show and be featured on the website. You can also submit your story on Reddit under the subreddit Brave the Basement or in the YouTube comment section. If you have an eerie ghost photo you would like to share, please email us and include a description, and your photo could be added to our photo gallery. And I also want to remind everybody, make sure you check out the bonus material page so you can hear that interview with the musical ghoul. And that brings us to the end. We hope that we brought you just a little fright. And remember, when you're up late at night and you hear something in the other room that just doesn't seem right, it's okay if you need to turn on the light to protect yourself from things that go bump in the night. I'm your host, The Ghoul That Rules.
I'm your co-host, Black One Jack 2.
And I hope you join us again. Until next time.